on Thursday became mandatory for people over the age of 12 living in Melbourne and the Mitchell Shire to wear a mask unless there were exemptions for medical or professional reasons. Overall, Doctor, how has the response been?
I think overall people are getting behind it, but there's certainly definitely reports of people that are not enjoying wearing the masks so much.
So when you say that, the increase of mask wearing, it looks inevitable for many places. From a psychological point of view, what are your concerns?
Well, firstly, I should come out and say the wearing of masks is a good thing. You know, we obviously need to be doing this to help with the challenge COVID has presented us with this year. That said, I think there are some things we need to be aware of with wearing masks that might help us relate to one another better and help our well-being. And the main concern is just that we get a lot of our communication from the face. If you're thinking non-verbal communication, you're thinking facial expressions and the way that we express emotions, most of that's coming from the face. Certainly, it's been well known in neurophysiology for many years now that we have a part of the brain that actually lights up when face perception is engaged. So it's even named after it. It's called the fusiform face gyrus. And what that's basically saying is that we're almost evolutionarily hardwired to be experts on faces. So faces are really important to us, and I think we're going to have a few challenges just getting used to masks because of that.
Well, we often hear that a small percentage of communication is verbal, don't we? There are also concerns for the hearing impaired, unable to see others and losing the ability to lip read.
Definitely. So this is something that's going to impact different parts of the community in different ways. I think we can, learn to endure and overcome this, like we have so many difficulties this year. But I think it's a matter of being conscious that this will affect the way we communicate in public at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And this week we also heard of a term, maskne, which is where people are getting skin issues from wearing masks. So many different aspects to watch out for and to be concerned about. And given so many of us are social beings, what advice would you give people to continue the vital communication that's needed?
Yeah, so that's a really important point. Humans are social animals. We don't do well unless we're maintaining social connections. And because a lot of our connection comes from emotions and the way we express emotions, I think wearing masks, it's going to feel like a bit like the volume control on our emotional connections to others has maybe been turned down a bit, or at least the people we're encountering in public while we're wearing masks. So my advice would be, I think we're all going to have to be conscious that our non-verbal communications can be misinterpreted more easily and can be, not picked up as well by the people we're communicating with. And so we're going to have to compensate for that by being a bit more direct with our verbal language. So, for example, it might be as simple as telling someone, just clarifying that you're smiling because they can't see that you're smiling behind your mask. Or maybe it's something where a shop assistant, you think they're grumpy at you, but you have to remind yourself that, oh, no, it's just I can't see their facial expression. They're probably, just acting normal and I might be misinterpreting it.
And we're certainly going to see more of this, certainly in the short term. On a global scale, there has been news this week with the announcement of face masks to be mandatory in England in various enclosed public spaces, including supermarkets. A second wave for many areas around the world. So you've mentioned the concerns, but how concerned are you about the severity of psychological issues that you've mentioned increasing over the next few months and certainly over the next few years?
Definitely. In terms of masks, I think we're very adaptive and flexible, and I'm pretty confident that the community can rise to the challenge of wearing masks. In terms of COVID as a whole, with the lockdown, with being indoors more, we're seeing a lot more mental health problems emerge. There's issues with family relationships. There's issues with, you're at home alone more with your thoughts. It's easy to become down or get stuck stuck in a rut. So boredom in this sense can be just as, problematic an experience as anything. And so, yeah, I think we're definitely going to have to be on the lookout for our fellow people more, reaching out to others, checking in on friends and seeing if they're okay. And also, I think a big part of this is making more of an effort to get our connections with others active rather than passive. And I think that's something we're already seeing with COVID-19 is acquaintances and friends where they've been people that might pop up on, your social media news feed every now and then and you throw them a like. Now we're realizing, we're not bumping into people, we're not feeling like we're as connected. And so we're getting people reaching out to others, just like I'm talking to you today via video chat and connecting in that way. And I think that's a really good thing, but I also think it's an important thing that we need to keep doing for our own mental health and well-being.
Absolutely. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because we are protecting ourselves and others from the virus by wearing the mask. And you often hear health experts say that depending on the type of mask, that it can protect you from anywhere from around 60 to 80%. But yes, as you also mentioned, the psychological impact that it's going to be. But it's going to be interesting to see down the track because we've seen through this pandemic so many innovative ideas from people coming forward with certain hand sanitizers to all sorts of things. So in terms of masks, it's going to be fascinating to watch.
Definitely. I think you mentioned the word double-edged sword or the phrase double-edged sword, and I think that's really on point in terms of at the moment we're maybe seeing a bit of hesitance to wear masks, and I think a big part of that comes from the uncertainty behind COVID-19 and the fact that it's a noticeable change. It's a daily change we're all having to make. And the thoughts about why people are doing that in the world of psychology is that it's about maintaining a bit of control. So we're trying to keep some control in an uncertain world. But I think what we need to remember is maybe we can spin that around, and that rather than the masks being something that, it's been imposed upon us by someone else, or that it's something that signifies that the world has changed a fair bit in 2020, which we need to acknowledge, I think we should all remember that the masks, the great thing about them is it's actually something within our control. It's something each of us can do to protect the community that little bit more. So rather than it being a barrier between ourselves and our connection to others and our community well-being, the masks are actually, we should all be giving ourselves a pat on the back because we're doing a good thing. And it's something we can all chip in with, which I think is great.